So this one's for Veritas48. His new 5 questions for atheists. I don't know. I mean, a lot of my viewers haven't gone back and watched all of my videos, but my very first video was a response to the original 5 questions. Veritas48 is single-handedly responsible for luring me onto YouTube. You bastard. Anyways, I've been working on like 5 videos in parallel, which come to find out is not a very efficient way to make videos. And I saw this latest video of Veritas's, and I don't know, it seemed like a quick and easy one and a fun one to respond to. So here goes. The new 5 questions for atheists. 1. What would I say to God if it turns out Christians are right? If I die and I get to heaven and I'm standing before some divine being, some deity. In all honesty, and I'm not just, I mean, just knowing myself and knowing the expressions I use when I'm surprised, I would probably utter something like, well, I'll be damned. Kind of ironic. Or maybe not ironic, but I don't know. It would be witty if it would be maybe witty if it wasn't for the fact that I probably wouldn't have thought about it in those terms. I would have just said, well, I'll be damned. Alright, anyways. 2. What would it take for me to believe in God? I'm afraid I cannot even begin to answer the question in the absence of a definition of God. And this isn't to say nothing could make me believe, it's only to say the question is incomplete. Which God on that nigh infinite continuum of gods? And this is not some disingenuous evasion of the question. This is a serious problem I have with answering. I'm incapable of answering without assuming and therefore precluding features of God. I have no business assuming or precluding. So, yeah. I mean, I really do struggle to think of evidence that I could, I mean, it's like Winkums, you know, Winkums and gibberflabs. What evidence would it take for you to believe in gibberflabs? Well, you haven't a clue yet, have you? You don't know what they are. Okay, 3. Do I think the new atheist movement is a good thing or a bad thing for free thinkers and skeptics? Yes. Because it frees free thinkers to think freely, and more importantly, it frees free thinkers to speak freely. You suggested that it's easier for atheists to score massive view counts on YouTube here. I don't dispute that. But you have to recognize that YouTube is a curious little inversion of the real world. Or perhaps not an inversion, but a place where equal weight is given to opposing views. It's not democratic. It's egalitarian. That is, nothing is decided here by majority. We each make videos, and those videos are watched or not watched without consequence. But in the real world, the campaign to remove God from our money is declared petty, and this charge goes largely unanswered. The charge that we remove the 10 Commandments from a courthouse is branded seditious and evil, and that charge is poorly defended on legal fine points rather than on principle where it ought to be. It's in the face of these asymmetries that new atheism flies, and the big names, even if you don't think they're big brains, send a signal, an indication to both trenches that it will take more than a majority to shut us up. Now, I'm in the camp which holds that religious values, beliefs, and traditions deserve respect no more than any other values, beliefs, or traditions. And in that light, if I judge a religious belief to be absurd, or a value to be harmful, or a tradition to be barbarous and unfair, I will do much more than politely suggest an alternate course. I will call bullshit, loudly, rudely, callously. And I think I'm beginning to get at your next question here, because my atheism informs this sort of behavior. The behavior of one who will pick a fight with a religious person who assumes he can treat as fact what is almost certainly false. 4. But what about these other decisions? What of other decisions? Are there any decisions that my atheism affects apart from, you know, the way I challenge theists? No. There are very few. My atheism is a belief given only in respect to another belief. And where that other belief is not, neither is my atheism. I have no belief in an afterlife nor in cosmic justice. These disbeliefs are independent of my atheism, and they inform my decisions in a variety of ways. I have no belief in moral truth. This affects things from how I treat others to how I think governments should be run. But all of these are beliefs which are not irreconcilable with God. They are just irreconcilable with your God, for example. So my atheism really affects very little except for how I deal with theism. And if there are any atheists watching this who disagree, who think that atheism can or does influence the decisions they make beyond the way they handle theism, I would love to hear from them, because I have no idea how they're pulling it off. I can't think of an idea that is more normatively inert than atheism. So, okay, 5. Is it better to achieve correct beliefs or avoid false beliefs? That's an interesting question, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Well, my first reaction is to say I value neither more than the other. My second reaction is to argue that it's a false dichotomy of the worst kind, because much worse than suggesting that there are only two options when there are more. This is actually sort of taking one option and splitting it where it doesn't need to be, and can't in fact be split. I think that these are each restatements of the same idea. Achieving correct beliefs implies eschewing false beliefs, and avoiding false beliefs implies the acquisition of true beliefs. Now, this isn't to deny the middle ground of investigation where one reserves judgment until more facts can come in, but I don't see how one can be coherently preferred or even separated from the other. And this isn't to say that scrapping a false positive belief entails a true positive belief, but it does entail a true negative belief, namely that the false positive belief is false. But if I value the acquisition of true beliefs, then with the modifier true in play, it seems I am necessarily biased against false beliefs. So we're back to these things being the same thing. So yeah, that's kind of my response to your new 5 questions. I enjoyed them. Thanks again for an interesting video. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for watching. This is Godless Heathen signing off.